All right, hey guys, I am going to walk you through the sales forecast template right now. This is a meaty one. There's actually a lot to cover here, and so I'm going to try to get through it as concisely and relatively quickly as possible without getting too much into the weeds, but at least to give you enough information so that you could go forecast your sales for your. Well, this is for our SaaS company, and you'll notice that it's based on monthly recurring revenue. So let's just jump into it here. I'll zoom out here so you can see that this is a very detailed model. There's a lot of detail here that we'll go into. Um, so let me start out. First, if you want to access this, I'll include a link below. You can click on the template, access the Google Sheet, make a copy for yourself, and then customize it for your business. This took me forever, many hours to develop initially for our B2B SaaS business. But once I did it, then I could rinse and repeat. I had to do it multiple times in the future, and even comparable models for folks that I've consulted with. So I'm hoping that you can just take the shortcut here and benefit. So the first tab is the instructions tab. Again, I sort of walked, if you've watched any of these videos before, I try to include instructions and how I use this and the steps that you should take to take advantage of it. The second tab is the growth scenario planner. So you don't necessarily need to use this. A lot of people won't, but if you're trying to look forward 1 to 5 years from now and you're saying, well, what would it take if I went and did this triple, triple, double, double motion where I triple revenue or monthly recurring revenue? This model is built off of MRR, monthly recurring revenue, that applies to a SaaS business, software as a service business. In our case, we're B2B SaaS. So this looks at the last 12 months and where the MRR is coming from. In our case, we are a product-led business that has trials, and those trials convert into self-serve revenue or revenue from trials, and then also sales closed revenue. So this shows you that it triples from the last 12 months to year one, then it triples again, then it triples then it doubles, and then it doubles again, and then it doubles again. So that's what it would look like. And if you scroll down here to the total annualized revenue, so if you annualize the monthly recurring revenue, you would see that this is the growth trajectory right here, where a 7.2 million MRR company is 86 million a year in revenue. Super powerful. That's I'm in a company now, a software company now that is at this scale, a little bit bigger. But you can punch in your growth rates here, and then you can punch in the percentage that comes from your product-led growth motion or your sales-led motion, and it will spit out the total amount of MRR and revenue that you would need to achieve. So I think it's a really nice way to give you a sense of what are the numbers that we need to hit these the growth targets, and then it flows down. So it's like you're going to need these numbers to benchmark the actual model that you build out, because you'll eventually forecast your sales, and then you have to work into a budget. It's like, what is it going to take for us to actually go achieve that plan? And and so this is the breakdown of what your actual churn and expansion profile looks like. So reactivation, expansion rate, contraction rate, your churn rate. These are churn in particular is a major lever in achieving your growth plan. Same with expansion. So punch in your last 12 months actuals, and I provide instructions on the right here to calculate the total new subscription revenue required. So this shows you exactly how much you'll need. And then based on the percentage contribution from trials versus sales above, that will flow down through to the required metrics down here of how much new MRR from trials that you'll need versus required from sales. And then based on your conversion metrics, again, I tried to make this dead simple so that The cells in yellow with the blue, the input. So you put that in, and then the rest is the benchmarks here for projections. Same with the monthly breakdown, number of leads required per month, expected quota, number of reps required. So it's a nice build here, and it just goes to show you, it's like, wow, with the assumptions that I have in this example, you could have an $83 million revenue company with 23 sales reps. So that kind of puts it in perspective, and so you can get a baseline for where this all falls out. And then I also include an estimated sales and marketing budget, because based on benchmarks, you can kind of say, well, how much should we be spending? What's a reasonable amount? And I've included some benchmark reports from Insight Partners, OpenView, with David Skoke does for entrepreneurs here, Tongues. They have benchmarks here for what is reasonable for other B2B SaaS businesses, what you would spend as a percentage of revenue. In some cases, it's a percentage of total revenue. In other cases, it's a percentage of total new revenue. But in this case, this is based on percent of marketing spend as a percent of revenue. And then you've got your assumptions, your acquisition assumptions on cost per trial, cost per MQL, average headcount cost, total annual tool cost per head, and then that gives you a total acquisition budget required here. So it's an estimation, and then remaining budget for headcount. So all of that is just to get you to a place where you can say, this is what would be required for us to go hit our forecast. Next tab. So once you do this, you go to, I would suggest you actually go to the sales forecast template and build out. So let me zoom out here. You can see that you have 12 months of actuals and then a forecast for the next 12 months. And so this could be, you could forecast this out for however many months that you want, but we use the 12-month actuals to project the next 12 months. And we typically do this in 12-month blocks. It's nice to have that growth scenario planner to project out multiple years, but so much can change quarter to quarter depending on what stage you're at, that projecting out more than 12 months doesn't make a whole lot of sense. So we use the actuals, these historicals, for projecting out the next 12 months. And so again, I would recommend that you plug in your actuals here. I've just included some cells. You may carry this across all of the cells to punch in your actuals, and maybe it ends on December, or maybe it's, I don't know, what is it right now? It's May. So you just have to change these dates up top and just get your last 12 months in here. And then you've got your MRR from sales in your forecast, and this is based on lead flow. We look at contact sales inbounds. We look at product qualified leads, sales source, target accounts. All of those have their own unique conversion rates. We'll zoom back in here. Have their own unique conversion rates for how they convert to engaged opportunities. And then each of those have their conversion rates to closed won. Based on that, they all then have their own average MRR by source. So you multiply the MRR by the total closed won, and you get your total MRR by the lead source, which rolls up to the total MRR from sales. And then I did the same as for up above for trials. So now that you know that, we get into the sales headcount and productivity, because you've got to be able to forecast how many heads you're going to need to achieve that revenue number. And this is where we start to back into the headcount required, and then we get into the actual sales budget summary, which I'll talk about next. But you start with a starting AEs. Then this looks at how many new AEs you will need. And then ultimately, there is an assumption in here that some AEs are going to leave, or you're going to have to let one go. You never like to do it, but it tends to just work out that way. So I've included some assumptions here that we lose one rep a quarter. That's we actually, in my experience, I went 3 years without actually having anyone attrit on their own. We did have to lay a few people off during that period of time for underperformance, and in the early days, I wasn't great at hiring. I felt pressured to make hires in a certain timeline, so I did not screen them for the right criteria. So we made some bad hires, but we corrected those quickly. This flows down to the AE ramp schedule. So you can punch in the numbers here for how the percent of quota attainment you expect them to achieve in month 1, 2, 3, and 4. And so then that gives you the total estimated number of ramped AEs. And then you can calculate the expected revenue contribution from those fully ramped heads. And then, based on your assumption of how expensive your sales reps are for lower average deal sizes, it's those reps tend to be more affordable. It's easier to get in smaller, 5 to 10K high velocity deals than it is, say, 20 to 50K SaaS deals. So it just depends. And then if you start talking about enterprise sales and you're in the 100K plus doing 6-figure deals, those reps are much more expensive. So, you're in the 6-figure range just for their base salary. But that gets you to a total salary, commission, and benefits. And then you can calculate your total annual billings generated comp ratio. And this is the whole OT, on target earnings, to total quota attained, basically. And the general, target, which I think target is 5. So 3 to 5x is the standard in B2B SaaS for that. To say it's like, if we pay someone $100,000 a year, we expect them to bring in $500,000 in revenue. So that's the sales forecast template. Now all that backs into the sales budget summary, where you've got a budget overview of headcount internally here and the costs associated with that. You then have agencies and freelancers. You have tools that are assigned to the sales org. And then any paid campaigns, like if you use a gifting platform, and that rolls into your total sales budget. So hopefully that went into enough detail where you can understand how to leverage this model and how to forecast sales for your B2B SaaS company. This is critical for quarterly planning, annual and quarterly planning. It's critical for putting forth a plan to your board and being able to hit this plan. So let me know if you have any questions. I will include a link in the description below so you can make a copy of this template for yourself. You can also join the Go-to-Market School and get access to this template as well as many other templates. If you like this, I would encourage you to watch the next video. I'm going to go into the market analysis template where you can learn how we analyze markets to see what might be the next best opportunity for us to pursue. So thanks for listening. I'll see you in the next video.